Good morning, Sixers. Just a couple of things on the Raymond Deane that I wanted to show you. The first thing that I'm going to go through is this type of chord here, which is what's called a cluster chord. So a cluster chord is essentially when your usual triad would have the three notes, but the composer might add closer notes that would create semitone and tone movements within the chord. So the voicing in the chord is bunched really close together, resulting in this really tight harmony. If we take that to the Deane section we're going to do today, section 6, excuse me, page 32, and that is bar number 141. This section is announced by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cluster chords on the crotales. The crotales are their small little tiny cymbals. I'll put a picture of them in the PowerPoint. And if you look at the notes, if you deconstruct it here, you can see we've got, it's in the treble clef, that's a G, that's an A, that's a B, and that's a C. So it's essentially the notes G, A, B, and C. So again, it's a cluster of the three note cell with the B added for that tight harmony to make it a cluster chord. So it's announced with these three notes on the crotales. Here they are on the video. Okay, and then what's really interesting about this section 6 is for the first time in the work, the piece moves into a tonality. Okay, now we've been talking about how it's pretty much atonal most of the way. So we get the key of C major across the strings. Okay, so bass clef here for the cello. And you can see the low C and an octave C double stopped, and then a G and then an E on the top, so creating the chord of C major. So we get actual harmony, and it's really odd after hearing so much atonality across the work. If you sit and listen to it as one piece of work, if you're that way interested, it's really strange to then hear C major. You can hear it there. It's very clearly a nice clean cut chord of C major. So a bit of regular normal tonality going on there. As you can see from my notes, it's based on the Danse Macabre, so it's the Totentanz rhythm. So the real key things going on here is a cluster chord, G, A, B, C of the three note cell, which announces the section, the final section before the coda. You'll be happy to know. And then the introduction of a C major tonality. So let's listen to that. Now what's really interesting is when these are in C major, the rest of the orchestra, i.e. the piano, which is playing very much these cluster chords the whole way through, and the marimba, who are also playing these cluster chords, they are in an A tonality. So you kind of have two things going on at the one time. You've got C major in the strings, and you've got this A tonality cluster chord business going on up above. Now, and what happened there was we had this run of semiquavers in the flute, and what they're doing is they're playing the notes of the dies irae. So this section is bringing all of the material back together again. The cluster notes of the three note cell, the Totentanz rhythm in here, the Danse Macabre rhythm, and then in here in the flute part at bar 144, the dies irae. Now, not the straight up dies irae, it would be too simple if it was that, but it's that idea of the transposed permutations of the melody of the dies irae. Now what's happening with these cluster chords is all the time they're trying to pull the C major Totentanz rhythm away from C major. So they're trying to distract it away from that tonality, and it eventually does happen here at bar number 152, which I'll go through in the PowerPoints. The cluster chords win the battle, and they pull the strings out of C major and back into that atonal feel. However, what's really interesting then is it's almost like a flip. So he flips the switch, and then almost immediately the piano has a C major chord. So as soon as the piano has succeeded in distracting it away from this lovely C major with these atonal cluster chords, the minute C major disappears in the strings, we then arrive back in C major on the piano. And it happens for here and it happens for here. But then after that, then we go pretty much atonal all again. So let's just continue that background. I think we're back here. Away from C major, C major on the piano. C major on the piano. So for this brief moment here, the strings get pulled away into their A tonality as they were before, and C major appears in the piano, and then it appears again. And then from then on, we are going to be all in that atonal space, all the instruments.